Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Oh, how is everyone doing? I'm so excited to be back. I almost forgot how this works, this going live thing works. So as you guys jump in, please let me know you're here. Say hey. Let's see, I'm just checking all the places, making sure we're live, because again, it's been a while. Reload. Hello, when you get here, let me know that you're here. Say hey. If you're new, let me know where you're watching from. I am just checking everything to make sure we're live in all the places we need to be live. So let's see. All right, I see people jumping on. As always, we'll give everyone a few minutes to get in. As you're jumping in, guys, do go ahead and start putting your questions in the comments that you guys have. I'll talk a little bit about how our Q&As work for those of you that are new or may have just forgotten because it's been so long. We'll talk about that, but if you guys can just let me know you can hear me, that would be awesome, because again, it's been a while. We're in a new office. We've moved since the last time I saw y'all. I love the new office. It's a little smaller. It's, since there's only two of us, it's really great. All right, let me know you can hear me. If you don't tell me you can hear me, I'm assuming you can't, and I broke it. So, but it says my mic's on. It says it's hearing me. Let's see. Okay, I could hear myself. There we go. So as you guys jump on, again, let me know where you're watching from if you're new, and whatever tax and accounting questions you guys have, go ahead and drop them in the comments, because that is what these Q&As are for. All right, they are your chance to have direct access to a CPA. Hi, Wendy. And get some of your questions answered. They can be tax related, accounting related, bookkeeping related, maybe. We'll see. And yeah, so and I always will have a few questions that I've gotten throughout the week or throughout the, last, or something that's been asked most commonly. I will, to fill up the time, so I will go through those. But I do see, where y'all are joining from Facebook and YouTube, so yay. So we can get started. If you don't know me, I am Bree Beers. I am a CPA, and I am the owner of Bree Beers and Associates. Our goal at Bree Beers and Associates is to enlighten taxpayers and business owners on all things accounting and tax. Our team understands that y'all don't know what you don't know when it comes to this part of running your business, and as a taxpayer. And so our team is dedicated to creating all the tools we can to help shed some light on all of that unknown. So we have a few different tools for you. So we have our awesome Facebook community, Money, Tax, and Finance for Small Business. If you're a business owner and you're not in that group, you should definitely hop on over there and join. It's an amazing and supportive community where we post tips and tricks and provide live trainings and events. And aside from that, what my new favorite platform is my YouTube channel. We have been posting up until a couple weeks ago. We post, and we'll start back up next week. Just have to take a little bit of summer break. We post weekly videos that are anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes long, answering some of the most commonly asked questions that I get from both our clients and our communities. Those are nice because I have a team. I have a producer that actually, chops them up and takes out the likes and the ums and they just look really professional, even though, guys, I'm not that professional. So, so Wendy says, oh, let's see if I can do this. I only know it's Wendy because I also have Facebook open. Guys, StreamYard, if you're on here at the very top, there should be in the description, I authorize StreamYard to use my name. And if you want to use that way I can see who you are. Like today I have Facebook open on a separate screen, but usually I won't. So it says, Wendy says, I'm here to provide a ton of questions, queues, stim for updates. Questions, yes. And that's where I'm going to start, is on stimulus updates. I mean, there haven't been a lot of updates, let's be honest. But go ahead and ask your questions, guys, about that, because I know there's been a lot that has happened in the last, this year. So any stimulus questions you have, please drop them in the comments. I am here for it. For those of you that may be new, tax is my jam, but last year I spent hundreds of hours learning and keeping up on stimulus and COVID relief and PPP and EIDL and all the things. All right, and so I've been staying on it this year too. The ERTC, the Employee Retention Tax Credit, they came out with some new guidance a couple weeks ago. It is the worst guidance I've ever heard. It's terrible. I'm assuming they will reverse it, but if you have questions about that, go ahead and ask them and we'll talk about it. I just don't want to talk about anything that those of you that are here in attendance don't want to hear about. But I will tell you, for those of you that are business owners out there, let's talk real quick about that EIDL grant and that PPP, the forgiven part of the PPP. Okay, so let's take a step back. If you're like, oh, it's been a really long time since I dealt with PPP and EIDL. Remind me again what we're talking about? So your PPP was your Paycheck Protection Program. That was your loan that you got back in 2020. They had a second round that came out again at the beginning of 2021. And that is a loan to begin with, okay? That, as long as you spent at least 60% on payroll and you spent the rest on legit operating expenses, you could get that loan forgiven. Therefore, it turns into a grant or free money, okay? Then we had the EIDL, okay? And to the EIDL, there were two parts, right? There was the actual loan part, which was up to $150,000, and then there was the grant part. The grant part was $1,000 per employee up to $10,000, okay? So normally, you guys, in the normal world of tax, grants and free money are considered taxable income to your business, unless there's some sort of stipulation that says that it's not. And when it comes to forgiven PPP money and EIDL grants, there was a stipulation that said that this will not be considered taxable income to your business. All right, so when you first got that money, let's talk PPP first. When you first got that money, it went on your balance sheet. It was a loan at that time, okay? Because until you got it forgiven, it was a loan to your business. Okay, then once you went through the forgiveness process and your bank said, hey, we forgive your PPP, it's been 100% forgiven, or whatever percentage you end up getting forgiven, okay? Once it's forgiven, then it moves from your loan, because you no longer owe that money to anybody, okay? And it goes as non-taxable income on your balance sheet. Okay, and this is something that I have seen a lot of people have some issues. They've lumped it into their income. They've kind of buried it, and therefore their accountant or their bookkeeper didn't know that it was supposed to be non-taxable. So what I've been advising my clients and my non-clients to do is create a brand new other income line item in your QuickBooks or your Xero, whatever software you're using on your Excel spreadsheet, that goes at the very bottom, and it's called non-taxable forgiven PPP. Okay, and that's where your forgiven PPP money is going to go. Same with your EIDL grant. Remember, there's a loan and there's a grant. That loan, that big chunk of money, that's going to have to be paid back. That stays on your balance sheet. But your EIDL grant, the money that was free money to you, again, make a line item on your P&L that says non-taxable EIDL grant, okay? And put that money there, because it is your tax accountant's job, or yours if you're doing your own tax return, to make sure that gets recorded properly on your tax return, because it is book income, right? You do want to make sure it gets recorded, because it increases your basis in your business, okay? And we're not going to get into basis. That's a lot for our first day back in a while. But you want to make sure it increases your basis, but you don't get taxed on it, all right? And I have a lot of business owners who have always done their own returns, and they've done them successfully. They've done them well. For 2020 and now 2021, because again, we had that second round of PPP, we have a lot of people utilizing the ERTC, the Employee Retention Tax Credit. With these one-off items, you guys, they have created a headache for tax preparers who are spending time actually like getting to know these laws and using them, that I can't imagine knowing and navigating the right way of recording these if I wasn't an accountant, okay, if I was a business owner of a different type, trying to navigate this. It is a mess. Okay, it is a mess. So definitely, even if you've never had a tax accountant do your tax return, I would really consider enlisting some help for your 2020 return if it's not already done, and your 2020 return when the time comes. All right. Wendy, you say you have a ton of questions, so start spitting them at me. Okay, I do want to talk, since I don't see any questions yet, you guys. I had a few common questions that have come in over the last few weeks that I wanted to fill the time with if you guys didn't have live questions. So let me pull those up real quick. Where did I put them? Okay, so one thing, you guys, sorry, I have a cheat sheet where I keep all my questions that you guys ask me throughout the week. I got to pull it up. I pulled it up and then I closed it. We're really professional here, guys. All right. So Wendy says, child tax credit, what is the formula? I have clients who have received it. So my guess, Wendy, you're talking about the advanced child tax credit. Let's talk about that. All right. So the credit that let me back up. So the advanced child tax credit is nothing new. Okay. It's something that has existed for years. President Trump in the 2018 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act increased it. The COVID relief for 2021 increased it again. So if the advanced child tax credit is something you've always received, you are going to receive more in 2021. Okay, the numbers went up. All right. There are income thresholds on the advanced child tax credit. And I will, as I'm talking, I will try to pull up. Again, I have so many cheat sheets for all of these things because it is hard, even as an accountant, you guys, it is hard to make sure, because there's income thresholds on all the different kinds of credits and deductions, and they're always different. So making sure we're advising and telling, giving the right advice or the right figures, making sure we're staying straight on that. But the advanced child tax credit, so it did increase in 2021. Pulling up my cheat sheet. Okay. And then we also had this prepayment offer, right? So they said, okay, instead of waiting until you file your 2020 tax return next March, April, whatever, we will give you up to 50% of what we think you'll qualify for this year. We'll give it to you, I think it's monthly. I'll have to remind myself of that. And we'll give them to you in these little payments, right? So I had a lot of people asking, oh, should I take it? You could opt out of it. So it's something you automatically were going to receive if based on your 2019 or 20, whichever one was the most recent that the IRS had. Okay. If you qualify for the advanced child tax credit with that tax return, they were going to assume that you will also qualify for it in 2020, and that you were going to want these prepayments of the advanced child tax credit. If you did not, and I'll talk to you in a second about who probably didn't want these, and it's not too late to opt out of the rest of them, okay? But if you did not want to receive these prepayments of your advanced child tax credit, then you had to go onto their website and opt out of them. If you are married filing jointly, both people had to go online and opt out of them. Now, I had people calling me, telling me, hey, both me and my husband opted out. I still got my payment. What happened? Guys, I don't know. These same people so far, when I followed up with them, they received the July one, but they have not received the August payments. So my guess is there was just a delay on the IRS side. And you guys, unfortunately, right now, that is basically my answer anytime there's something going wrong with the IRS. They are so far behind. They are so delayed. Like I have clients, you guys, who have filed, and not even just my clients, other people like in the forums and in my accounting forums who filed their 19 return and it hasn't been processed yet. Their 2019 return, right? Then I have clients with their 2020 returns. I have some clients and some people I've talked to who filed theirs back in March who have not received their refunds yet. I have people who filed it last month who did. Okay, there is no rhyme or reason. The only thing, and I did go on a tangent. I'll circle back around to the child tax credit, just kind of giving you some, be patient with the IRS and your tax preparers. That if with the stimulus payments, if you were requesting a stimulus payment on your 2020 tax return, there was a delay, or there will be a delay if you have not filed, because that is something that they're actually digging into and reconciling to make sure that you're saying you are requesting that money on 2021. They are making sure, going back and making sure that they did not pay you that money. So that is causing delays for sure. Outside of that, you guys, it's just across the board delays. Okay. So circling back around to our advanced tax credit. Okay. Excuse me. So they're basing it off your 19 or 20 return, saying, okay, you qualified for it then. So we assume you're going to qualify for it in 2020. So we're going to start giving you these prepayments of this tax credit. You may want to opt out under a few different circumstances. All right. If your child is aging out, right? So they were a dependent in 2019 or 20, and in 2021, they are not going to be a qualifying dependent. Okay. Therefore, you're not going to get that credit. Okay. You may want to opt out of it, because once you receive these prepayments throughout the year, okay, if you don't end up qualifying for that credit on your 2021 tax return, they're going to want that money back. All right. And that is a very important thing to remember. Okay. Because with these stimulus payments, let's go back to the stimulus payments. Okay. They specifically said, if you receive a stimulus payment, you're not entitled to it, we're not going to ask for it back. The one exception is if you receive one for someone who is deceased. Okay. You had to be alive on December 31st, 2020 to qualify for those stimulus payments. All right. So, but if you received one, so let's say examples of who would have received a stimulus payment when you didn't end up qualifying for it on your 2020 return. All right. So maybe you alternate, you have kids, and maybe in 2019, they were yours to claim. So you ended up getting the stimulus for a dependent based on the fact that you took them as a dependent in 2019, but in 2020, you don't get to take them, right? Maybe your ex-spouse takes them in 2020, okay? You got a stimulus you weren't actually going to be entitled to on your 2020 tax return. They don't care, they don't want that back. Same thing if your child or your dependent aged out. You know, they were a dependent in 2019, they weren't in 2020, you already received the stimulus payment, that's fine. If your income increased, right? That stimulus payment was only for people under $75,000 single, $150,000 married filing jointly. 2019, you made under that. 2020, you made more, but you already received the stimulus, you don't have to pay it back. Okay, so the stimulus was, they specifically said you will not be responsible for paying back an overpayment. That is not the case with the advanced child tax credits. Okay, so if you're receiving, let's say you receive $1,000 of prepayments, okay, and then tax time comes, and let's say this year you made more money, you made over that threshold, okay, then they're going to say, okay, you don't get an advanced child tax credit, but you received one already. So it's going to either decrease the amount of money you get back when you file your tax return, or it could actually end up making you owe. All right, so if you don't think, so let me pull up the requirements for the advanced child tax credit out of my arsenal. Where is it? Sometimes you just have to do it like a search within your own documents because you have so many things. Does anyone else have that problem? You have so many documents in your resources that you can't just find things. You actually have to search for them. I don't want that one. I have like 5 different resources. Let's see if this is the right one. Okay, here we go. Here's my Q&As. That's not answering my question that I have in my head. That's just a general Q&A. I'll come back to it. Wendy, I will add that to my list of things to do, to actually do a whole thing on this advanced child tax credit. I don't know if I'll do it in a YouTube video or if I'll do it maybe in a Facebook Live, but I will do it because there are a lot of pieces, right? So there's your income thresholds, there's how many kids you have, there's so many different things going on that I want to make sure we cover each one piece by piece. So that's one that's a little more in depth. It's not just a blanket clear answer. So we'll come back to that. But what we're saying, okay. Oh, Tanya, okay, so many good questions. Okay, it's like they all hit me on StreamYard. All right. Let's see, Jocelyn. Let's see if I can bring this up. So Jocelyn says, the EIDL targeted and supplemental grants. I meet all of their criteria. However, I never received an invite. When I email them, I just get a bounce back email saying I need to wait for an invite. Is there any hope for me? Yes. I haven't checked on this. When was the last time Jamie and I talked about this? It was probably June, so I will touch base with her again. But back in June, she was, we were talking about how it looked promising. Some people were getting this invite, but not everybody. And then even a couple, was it June or, I know everything's kind of a mush, you guys, but there was a time where more than just targeted people were getting an invite. So let me check with her. And Jocelyn, I will figure out how to get you that answer, because I don't know. She's been really on top of it in terms of she has some backdoor connections and secret ways. You know, that's what happens when you have a group of 50,000 people compared to our like 1,000. You find people who find loopholes to contact people. But you guys, what happened? So these EIDL targeted and supplemental grants, these were made for very specific areas that were hit exceptionally hard by COVID, and we were told that they could get these EIDL grants, right? And that they specifically said, we will reach out to you. And that was at the beginning of the year. And then there was a time where like more than just those who qualified were getting an email. I can't remember exactly when that was, but it was during tax season sometime, because I even got one. I got one that said, you may qualify for a targeted grant. And I look, and I didn't. I know I'm not in an area that it qualified for, but there was, and I think that was their way of trying to reach everyone who they may have missed. So I will find that address of who that came from, because Jocelyn, it may just very well be that it got sent to you months and months and months ago and got lost. So let me put that on my list. Okay. And then let's see, Tanya. There has been buzz about Biden pushing for more audits of small business. Is this actually happening? If so, what impact do you see that for small biz? So anything that has to do with, because we're hearing a lot of things about tax changes and reform and audits and all the things, right? And it's hard to know either what's true, what's not. It's hard to know, okay, what's actually a priority that they're actually going to push through and what's not. Based on what I'm hearing, reading, and just kind of what I know, when they say they're looking to audit small businesses, they, I believe, are sincerely talking about those small businesses who, have $2 million, because let's talk about the PPP, right? When they defined small business for PPP loans, it was like, what was it, 500 employees and $2 million. And some of these big corporations and big companies found loopholes because they had sub businesses that each fell under those thresholds. But as a conglomerate, they were, they're multi-million and sometimes billion-dollar corporations, right? So I think there are going to be targeted audits eventually to those type of businesses. I cannot, for the life of me, and for just see them auditing small businesses like us that are here, because I feel like that is futile. Like it's not going to be a ton of money that they get by auditing those businesses, and it's also like in the spirit of why this PPP was created, why EIDL was created. They wanted to help small businesses like us. Okay. Did it work because of all the loopholes and rules they implemented along with it? It did, and it didn't. So I just cannot see them, after the mess they caused and the headaches that they created for small, like legit small business owners, those of us with less than 100 employees, that less than, $1 million in revenue, that they would add to that headache by coming back and auditing us. And when you guys think about it, in audit, the whole purpose of audits is to collect money, right? Is to collect money that is owed. All right. And so they are usually geared toward bigger companies because there's a bigger chance of getting more money from those companies, right? Those of us in small business, we do still get audit notices, right? We get examination notices. We get, your tax return seem to be missing something type thing, but those are usually auto-generated because of something that their system catches, right? Like, their system may have a 1099 issued to your business that you didn't report, and that's what's causing the flag. It's not actual auditors, like actual people going in and looking at your return and saying there's something fishy here. Usually with our smaller businesses like ours, it is the examination notices and the audit notices are caused by something automated within the system. Okay. So long short answer, I hope that they audit some of these larger companies, because I think a lot of them did take money that they shouldn't have. But I can't see them coming at small businesses, not after the headaches they already caused with the rules and loopholes of getting this money. I think at this point, if you've gone through all that legwork of getting the money and getting the money forgiven, that they're like, good for you. So fingers crossed. That seems to be the common trend on all of our forums and our accounting blogs and everything like that. There are some people that still disagree with that, but overall, I think that's the common mentality, the common prediction. Unemployment. Taxes filed before 3/17. Have the Feds started issuing that money refunds for that? Are the states also filing suit and completing the amendments, specifically Colorado? I'm trying to think of some of my clients who we filed before 3/17. So let's back up again. Want to make sure that everyone watching knows what we're talking about. So eventually, after 3/17, the IRS came back and said, okay, for each taxpayer, we are going to make $10,200 of your unemployment income from 2020 tax-free, non-taxable. Okay. So usually when you have unemployment, it is taxable income. Okay. So as you're putting in your W-2 wages, your business income, all the things, your unemployment gets lumped into that amount as well. Well, I'm guessing 3/17, Wendy, I assume that's the date, right? Back in March, the IRS said, the Congress said, we want to exclude $10,200 per taxpayer of unemployment benefits from taxable income, right? So now a tax returns completed after March 17th now show all of your income, and then at the very bottom there is a negative, not at the very bottom, at the middle of the first page, when they're calculating your AGI, your adjusted gross income, there's an other income line that has a negative, and that negative is your tax-free unemployment benefits, up to $10,200 per taxpayer for 2020. So what Wendy is asking here is, wait, we filed the tax return before they implemented this exclusion, okay? When they implement it, they then, you guys said, do not file an amendment, okay? If you filed your return before we made this rule, do not file an amendment. We, the IRS, I think it was the IRS, we will adjust these on our end, and we will issue those additional refunds. So Wendy is asking, have they started issuing refunds? I don't know. I am thinking about the clients who we did file. We had a few that we filed before 317. And to me, the fact that they haven't asked me about their refund makes me think they have it, but I'm gonna look. That's another thing I will look back on and get back to you guys the next time we meet, is have they started issuing it? I'm gonna tell you my guess is that they have, but it is very slow, just like everything else. The IRS is, they are juggling multiple balls. They are doing multiple things. So I'm guessing they're chipping away at each, at everything. They're processing some 2020 returns. They're still trying to process some 2019 returns. They're trying to get these, the unemployment taxes reconciled and refunded. They are trying to reconcile the RRC, the rebate return, the stimulus payment, the credit, so they just have their hands in so many buckets that they're trying to make some progress on each of them, but it is extremely, extremely slow. Okay. All right, cool, you guys. It is after 10, so I am going to get back to work, working on some tax returns for clients. But we are still trying to figure out our schedule for getting our trainings back on a schedule and doing our Q&As. We're going to meet as a team this weekend and kind of decide what that's going to look like. We got to the point where we were doing both every week, but we weren't getting participation every week. And so we got to find that happy medium. Obviously, I'm not going to disappear for another how many months, but we got to figure out, do we want to do monthly Q&As and monthly trainings? Do we want to do bi-weekly? So that's what we're going to sit down and decide probably this weekend and let you guys in here know. But again, I highly, highly recommend that you check out, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I started reading comments, that you check out my YouTube page, because there are so many videos out there, guys, that may be answering your questions, because I've made videos on my most commonly asked questions. Again, they're 5 to 10 minutes, pretty quick watches. And yeah, so real quick, because we're talking about unemployment again. If $10,200 of unemployment benefits is now tax-free, then what happens if tax is paid on those benefits? That's what we were talking about, Tanya, is that is now due back to you as a taxpayer. Because many of you guys, when you set up your unemployment benefits, had income tax withheld, right? I know I did for the week I was on unemployment, or however long it was. I know my employees did. Like that was just very common. That's a common thing to have income tax withheld from your unemployment benefits. So you had likely 10% held out for federal income tax purposes. Because they've now included, or now that they've said that that $10,200 is tax-free, you should get that money back. And that's what they're trying to reconcile. If you filed your return after March 17th, your tax return reconciled it for you. Okay, they removed that, they removed that income from taxable income. They included the withholding that you paid through your unemployment as taxes paid. So that's all been handled if you filed after March 17th. Yes, if you filed before, that is what the IRS is trying to reconcile and get refunds sent out with, okay? Mark, hi Mark, one of my favorites. So ERTC 2020, okay, ERTC, that's the Employee Retention Tax Credit, 2020, 941X, no funds yet, any word on delays? Yeah, I mean, there are delays. There's no rhyme, we haven't heard any rhyme or reason as to what's causing them. But so again, guys, ERTC is your Employee Retention Tax Credit. That was a credit provided to anyone who has employees who experienced a decrease in revenue from 2020 or 2021 compared to 2018. A 941 is your payroll report. A 941X is when you have to amend it. And a lot of people were amending them to go back and get that credit because the laws changed. And so any word on delays, from my understanding, Mark, and this is one thing that you're in Jamie's group, I think, that Jamie and I are need to touch base on, is that they were trying to, I think in their plan, their plan is to try to process 2021s and not get behind on those while trying to fill in and get the 2020Xs amended as well. That's my understanding. That said, I can tell you, for me and a few other clients, we filed our first quarter and our second quarter. We didn't even do an X. We filed for the credit with our original 941 filing, and we haven't seen that money yet. So we were told originally with a non-amended return, you'd be waiting 1 to 3 months. We can see now, I mean, April was when my first quarter was due, right? May, June, July, we're now 4 months in from first quarter filings, and amended ones, 941Xs, are taking even longer. So I'm guessing that all the timeframes we're reading about and hearing about are all speculation. And I mean, that's where I am at this point. Anything where they're trying to estimate what the IRS's timeframe is all a guess. Nothing is actually known. So, the Mark says, are you taking on new clients like me? Yes. That's a great, thanks, Mark. Thanks for throwing that in. We are going to start taking on new clients. We are right now trying to get through extension season. We have a lot of clients who are filing late. We're getting through. So we check out here. I'll put I think I still have some tax discovery call availability. Consultation, did I spell it right? Let's see if that works. Okay, so check out my calendar. We do offer free consultations, you guys. If you're like, I think I need a tax advisor. Maybe I don't know that I need a tax advisor. Whatever. We offer 30-minute. I think they're 30-minute free consultations where we can sit down, tell me about your tax situation. I'll tell you if we're a good fit to help you. I'll tell you about how our strategies and how we work, and we'll figure out if we are a good connection to work together. So check that out. My availability was super limited last I checked, just because we have extensions coming. So I'm down to 1 day a week where I'm taking on tax discovery calls. But after October 15th, it'll open up like crazy. So if you're needing 2021 tax planning help or 2021 tax prep help, I'm your girl. I can help you. We can meet. We'll be good. Okay, you guys, I've gone over my time. Thank you for joining me. Keep an eye out if you're watching this in the Facebook group, keep an eye out. So as we figure out what our new schedule for trainings and Q&As is going to be. And again, if you miss anything, check it out on YouTube. It replays there or in the group. And if you have questions, you guys, that you didn't get answered or as they come up, definitely put them in the group, put them in the Money, Tax, and Finance Facebook group. That is where I tend to pull my questions from that I use for time filler. All right. It's Thursday. Have a great Thursday, Friday, weekend, and we will chat again with you guys soon. All right. Bye.